If he finishes, he does it! Frazier wins the shirt, the last shirt!
Hi, I'm George Frazier, and that was me winning the first of my 6 black shirts. I believe that was 1985, and I'm the host of a video that's going to plumb the depths of Russ Kiernan's mind about everything that's great about his training methods and his theories about the Dipsea. We did this 10 years ago, and since then, Russ has won the Dipsea twice. He used to be called Avis, now we call him Hertz. Russ also has won 21 of these coveted black shirts. What's been the big difference between the Avis we knew and loved and the Hertz that we now respect and admire?
Well, I've gotten older and I run faster, run like hell from start to finish, but there are a few new wrinkles, and we'll talk about those later.
Well, when did you become good as a Dipsea runner?
Well, it wasn't immediate, that's for sure. The first year, as I say, it was either 67 or 68 that I ran the first Dipsea, and it was like an hour and a half, and it was way back there. But I was hooked, so I continued on, and I would say it was probably in about 70 when I started getting better, and I think it was 73 or 4 when I probably was up in the top 10.
Well, our runners are taking off from downtown Mill Valley. Russ, what's your thought on early pace as you leave the square?
Well, my theory is to go like hell from the beginning to break out to the lead of the pack that I'm in, so I don't have to fight those people on the stairs, and it's usually the same people that I know I'm going to be duking it out with in the race.
Now we're standing in beautiful Old Mill Park, about a quarter of a mile from the starting line. And Russ, one of the questions is, most of the people run to the left of the bathrooms, but you and I have an alternate theory.
Well, I always like to come to the right. I make a straight beeline start, coming through the trees here, straight on by here. There are fewer people that come by. I still think it's a better way. You don't have to go through the sand in the play box down here.
We're standing at the bottom of the infamous Dipsea stairs. There's 676 steps. This comes right at the beginning of the race. And Russ, what is the etiquette for running this section of the race?
Well, as you come up here, you're probably going to be passing people who started in the group ahead of you, and they're going to be much slower. You're going to be shouting, on your left, runner on your left. As you can see, the runners going up the stairs here. Some are walking on the right, others are passing on the left. Many of the famous people, Leslie,
Christy Patterson,
Christy, John Blecka, and Florencia. And even coming up here, I see Mike Hoy, and even behind him is a famous race announcer.
It's a race announcer, Barry Spitz. Let's
we'll
see.
grab
Barry. Now, you've been announcing this race for many, many years. Would you like to have the chance to actually run in it one year?
Well, I run over every year before the race, and that's enough.
Do I have to tell you any more what the Dipsea is all about?
The way I come up the stairs here, Russ, is I get over on this side and I just pull myself up with both hands on this railing as I'm walking as fast as I can. What's your theory?
Well, if I can, I'll do that, but it's usually by this time I've caught quite a bit of a crowd of that first group, or maybe even 2 groups that have been ahead of me. I'm probably going one at a time. I take the shortcut here, as we can see some people going up. Others are going all the way to the top.
Russ, we're feeling about as good as we're ever going to feel at the top of the stairs because we came up in a car.
That's right.
After climbing these famous 671 steps, how do you feel and how do you approach this section?
Well, I always feel relieved that they're over, but I'm wiped out. I've come up the stairs as hard as I can. The first flight's no problem. Second flight, I get a few more people. And by the third flight, it's pretty crowded. I don't really have to push. People are yelling. They can hear me grunting and groaning. Here comes Kiernan, get out of the way. But I'm glad to have them over with. I still think it's the hardest part of the race.
We're standing at Flying Y Ranch, which used to be home to a lot of horses, and it's now the home of a bunch of million-dollar houses, sort of a typical Marin County development. I happen to believe that this section of the course is a place to really hammer because you can pass people, but I know Russ disagrees.
Well, I try to hammer everywhere, but this is one I'm not hammering quite as hard. It is a little easier to get by people here, so it's not a complete relaxed mode, but I can recover here a bit. Pushing, though, a little bit to get by where the trail narrows down.
We're standing at the 1 Mile Tree, which I think is a Russ Kiernan creation. Basically, Russ will come out here and write 1 mile at this point so that people can see how terrible their time is and they'll want to quit. Now, is this true or false, Russ?
Well, there's some logic to this. It's a little psychological warfare, but for people who've never run the Dipsea, this is probably a critical point. They think they get to a mile and they're hitting this place at 10:30, 11 minutes, slowest mile they've ever run in their life.
Shoes are very important. Next to a pair of fast socks, I think that having a great pair of shoes is important. Melody, tell me about the shoes that you're holding.
These would probably be my favorite shoes as far as the Dipsea is concerned. I've actually gone up a size now, but I really think that they are very good.
This is a pair of Nike Air Pegasus Racer. It's a pair of shoes I've had since the early 90s. And when it came time to run the first Dipsea, my first Dipsea in 1992, I had no idea what shoes I should wear. But I thought it would be important to have something with a little bit of a waffle sole.
These, the tread is very, very good. I like the last and I like the way they curve around. I think that suits my foot very, very much.
I also wanted a lightweight shoe because I didn't want to be carrying extra weight up the hills.
Russ is holding 2 pairs of 1982 Nike Elite Classics. This is the shoe that Dave Dunham wore in the Dipsea when he ran the fastest time. Daryl Beardall wore them. Greg Nako wore them. I've worn them. Russ has worn them. What do you like about this shoe, Russ?
They're light, and they have a good waffle sole. I think it was the first of the waffle soles that still has good grip on it. And I think it gets to be a psychological thing after a while. You think you have to run in light shoes. I never train in these. I do run road races once in a while in them, but I train in a heavier shoe with a waffle sole.
These shoes are no longer available, but for those who want something somewhat like it, you can buy the Nike Waffle Racer.
I mean, I do go to Arch Rival, and Case or whoever's there helps.
What we try to do here at Arch Rival is address the variety of foot profiles. So some people overpronate, some are neutral. This is the Brooks Trail Addiction support shoe, another support shoe, the one I used on my last Dipsea. Very lightweight, still supportive, lots of traction. All-terrain shoe by New Balance, dirt and pavement. Another one by New Balance, another one for narrow feet. The Adidas excellent traction that we just showed you. This is the Saucony Shadow, wide. Generally has a wide forefoot, excellent traction. That's also one of the more popular ones for the trail. Trabuco by Asics, the Eagle by Asics. That's a wide forefoot for those who have a wide forefoot. Again, the Nike Air Divide that we just showed you with the big platform, good traction.
And when you're at it, get yourself a pair of fast socks. Windy Gap, Russ, as you know, is the first downhill section of the course. How do you transition both physically and mentally from this long uphill?
Mentally, I transitioned very well. I've been waiting to get to here. Once I get here, I feel now I'm in my mode. Everything's going fine. I can just let it out. And I used to be able to get down this thing in about a minute, but it seems to be taking a little more than a minute these days from the right up the top here to the bottom on the road.
Well, how long does it take you from the moment of being exhausted up here to getting fast turnover?
Just that downhill. I'm able to relax on the downhill and actually get my breath. And it takes me about a minute from here and then another 4 minutes from the road to the creek at Muir Woods. So it's about 5 minutes from here to the creek.
We're standing at the bottom of Hockey Hollow, which was named after Jerry Hockey, the race director, who spent many, many hours working on this section of the trail. And this is a dangerous section. We see Ron Raymer here for the first time. He obviously taken some sort of shortcut. Russ, what's your theory on this section?
Well, this is a section where you need to keep your concentration 100%, or you're going to be down on your face or even down on your butt, as we see Duncan coming by down there. Race morning, that can be very slick in there because it's probably been foggy the night before.
Coming down Muir Woods Road, we have Melody Ann Schultz and Russ Kiernan, two of the greatest Dipsea champions, wearing their black shirts, which they would never do unless Tim had set up his video camera. They make it look easy. Those are not the legs of 60-year-old people, and Melody looks like a teenager, and Russ looks like a guy who was arrested. We're standing on one of the controversial spots in the Dipsea near the mailboxes. We used to run down here on the old Suicide where Russ was a demon, and now we're over here on the Rangers Trail. Tell us about this section, Russ.
Well, this is a section where, again, you want to push very hard to get in here. I certainly miss the old section, but this section is one you go 2, 3 at a time. It's kind of dangerous, but it's thrilling.
Hey, we're standing right above one of the key intersections in the Dipsea course. Do you want to describe it for us, Russ?
Well, this is the trail that would be coming down, that the Rangers insist we come down now, but they do give us the option at this point to take the trail over here to the left, which I would say in the invitational division, probably 80% of those people will take the left trail. In the runner section, I would think most of them go to the right. But in years past, we used to come all the way from the top of the mailboxes down the road and down through the Scotch Broom. So it is faster to take the left, but it's certainly more dangerous.
We're standing at the top of one of the steepest downhill sections on the course, the aptly named Suicide. The footing here is pretty tough. Russ, what's your theory?
Well, this is a spot I look forward to because I can get by many people, especially now that it's been widened. It's an area you have to run hard, you can pass many people, you get back on your heels, keep your balance, and just rip. Be extra careful as you get to the bottom of the hill because you have to make a hairpin right turn. You can see some of the runners going down there, and there goes David. Perfect style, flat out. Joaquin's a little bit slower.
Now, we've heard the Grand Master talking about how he does it. Now we're watching one of the great downhillers in Dipsea history, Russ Kiernan, coming down Suicide. We're standing near one of the controversial points on the course. This is the misnamed Frazier shortcut, where actually Ron Raymer and Milan Zeman designed a shortcut that the Rangers ruled illegal. Just a little bit further behind us is a shortcut where the Muirwoods 9 was disqualified and later exonerated. But the problems here, Russ, are that the crowded conditions have forced runners to try and make shortcuts. What do you think of that old Dipsea tradition of shortcuts?
I think that's part of the race. Without the shortcuts, it's not much of a race. There are plenty of races that have the same course you follow all the time. This opens it up for people who know the course. It makes it for an exciting race. I love the shortcuts. It takes off the pressure on some of the places where it is tight.
Russ, one of the things I wanted to ask you about were the other Dipseas, the double Dipsea and the quad Dipsea.
They're nothing compared to the Dipsea. I consider them both easier, which some people probably say, how could that be? But the double has always just been, it's so much more relaxed going into it. I don't fret about it, just go out and win it. With my 10 wins, I've had pretty good success with it. And I think the years I didn't win it, I didn't run it. And with the quad, this year's quad went very well. I did it sanely rather than going out at a 60-minute pace like I did in the first times I ran it 15 years ago or so.
Right behind us is lovely Redwood Creek. This is about the prettiest spot on the Dipsea. It's a tough spot. You've just finished a hard downhill and you're facing the toughest uphill, which is Dynamite. How do you face this both physically and mentally?
Well, I face it really well if I'm down here in about 18 and a half minutes, which is no longer. It's usually about 19 minutes I'd be pleased with. But I've been able to relax even though I've pushed the downhills all the way down on the road and then down Suicide. So I'm pretty cranked and I'm able to run all the way up.
Well, I'm of the belief that if I start walking at a point that I've decided, walk that section and then stop at the point I've decided, that psychologically I'm okay. So is it a psychological issue or a physical issue when you go from running to walking and then trying to run again?
Well, I think, well, it is psychological. I don't like to walk. Physically, I'm able to keep running, so I guess it's more psychological to keep it going because I'm not overpowering the uphills, but I'm continuing to go.
We're watching Russ Kiernan lead a pack of runners up the first section of Dynamite, and as we come to this right turn, it's sort of a controversial area. Russ, have you ever taken this highly illegal shortcut over here?
Well, I've been known to take it on occasion. It has advantages in that you're able to get by a lot of people, but it also has disadvantages, and the disadvantages are there might be a big ranger standing at the top who will disqualify you. So I think the best way to go is straight up the trail here on your way to a black shirt, on your way to disqualification.
We're standing near the top of Dynamite, and this is one of the most exhausting sections of the race. Russ, what do you suggest as sort of a mental view of going up the Hogsback after this tough climb?
Well, this is a place you're starting to feel pretty good. You've passed a lot of people, so you're geared for it. You're in oxygen debt a bit, but you just keep pushing. Maybe you've backed off a little bit, looking forward to getting to that halfway point, which we'll see in a short while.
We're standing on one of the key sections of the course where the Hogsback opens up into the Fire Road section, and I'm of the belief that if you don't run this hard, you're not going to have much of a Dipsea. What's your theory here, Russ?
Well, my theory is to go hard from start to finish, so I would be pushing all the way, especially up this part. No more traffic problems. It's wide open trail. You've got nothing to do but just crank it out up to the top of Cardiac and fly to the finish.
We're standing out here in the sun on the middle of the Hogsback, and at one of the intersections in the race where some people might go up the Fire Road, and most of the people would go to the left on the trail. I prefer the Fire Road because it's pretty crowded when I get out there, but I know Russ goes on the trail.
Well, that's what I said. It's usually freewheeling from the top of Dynamite, and as you open up, but it is a lot easier on the trail here. I think it's still a little bit faster, but I don't have any problems with getting by people.
We're looking at Halfway Rock, which is out in the middle of the Hogsback. And this is just before one of the last uphill sections of the Hogsback, and it's pretty much flat the rest of the way to the rainforest. Now, why do they call this Halfway Rock, Russ?
Well, I think it's probably halfway in the race. Probably isn't halfway distance-wise, but it's halfway time-wise.
We're standing right at the end of the Hogsback at the entrance of the rainforest. This is the end of a section that's been fairly flat, and the way I run it, I'm pretty tired here. Do you try and recover in the rainforest, Russ?
A little bit. This first part has that slight downhill, 30, 40 yards. You get a little recovery and start pushing. It is nice to get into the shade if it's a sunny day, but if the fog's been out, it's going to be muddy and slippery through the rainforest, so you have to watch your footing.
We're standing in the center of the rainforest, pretty close to the bottom of Cardiac. This is where Keith Hastings says you run as hard as you can, as if the finish line is the bottom of Cardiac. What do you think of that theory, Russ?
Well, I don't think I'd want to push as hard as I can, even though I'm going hard. At this point, though, I do want to keep track of how many people have passed me, hopefully none. I would think slower runners are going to have people passing them here, and you're going to have the scratch runners really flying by.
The runners are coming up the last section of Fire Road before Cardiac, and this is the last hard running section. As soon as I get here, Russ, I start to do a little bit of selective walking, although I'll run right at the top because there's a lot of people up there watching. Do you walk any section of this?
I have walked it, and I probably walk it most years now. The desire's there, but the legs won't go. I will power walk through most of the middle part. When I get to the top, I'll push up onto the top where the people are. Certainly don't want to walk up the last 30 yards.
This is Cardiac, the highest point on the Dipsea course. How do you approach the transition from this very long, hard uphill to the downhill to come?
Well, it does take a while. Coming up the last part of Cardiac, I usually do have to walk up part of this now. Probably the middle part I walk, and then I get running for the last part. As I say, I always want to be running as I peek to the crowd. While
Russ takes a well-deserved break, I'm sure he's probably out looking for some shortcuts now. We have an opportunity to talk to one of the greatest Dipsea runners of all time. In fact, it's my opinion for sure that he is the greatest Dipsea runner of all time. 7-time champion and a personal hero and friend of mine, Sal Vasquez. Sal, a lot of people would like to know how you train for this race. You've had such great success. What do you focus on in your training?
Well, actually, when I started running this race, I used to come here maybe around 2 times to 3 times a week just to run the double.
No, I don't run doubles. I mean, I haven't run a double since last year's race.
What do you think is the advantage of doing double Dipseas?
No, that's very easy whenever you run a double. So when you run a single, that's extremely easier.
I train parts of the course all the time, but to go out and do a double, I don't need to do that.
My training for the Dipsea is pretty much just one way, and that is doing the course. I think it's important to know the course, and I just like the muscle memory of just going over it.
How much running did you do? Days a week, and what kind of mileage?
Actually, I was running 5 to 6 days a week. I was running between 60 and 70 miles, but that was pretty hard miles.
If I'm lucky, I'm running 35 miles a week. I'd love to be able to get it up to 40 or 45, but every year it's a little bit slower.
How do you deal with both the nervousness and the food? What do you eat and drink before the race, and then how do you deal with your nervousness?
Oh, I don't drink anything. I just only drink water, plenty water. So that's the main thing what I do.
I think I've used goo before, and I perhaps will go back to goo. In most of my races I use goo and I drink a lot of water. I drink a tremendous amount of water, but perhaps I need to have extra electrolytes into my body to avoid that dehydration.
Every time I've run the Dipsea course, I've run it as hard as I can. That just happened from the day one, because the first time I came over for a training run, I came with the Tamalpa group, and they went out like it was a race. And I thought, well, I guess this is the way you're supposed to do it.
Always keep moving. Run if you can, if you've had the preparation time. As you move up, tap people on the elbow and move to their left, and just keep going. And in terms of preparation for women, it's important to remember that this is a strength event, and your legs can only pump uphill as fast as your arms can pull you uphill.
Well, it's not running on the track. I hate the track. I think running should be fun, and that's work. So I run the trails 90% of the time, and I do fartlek training out on the trails. So I do speed work out there, but not on the track.
Well, I've noticed that your body is much more impressive, much more muscular. Is it strength work?
Well, yeah, you can see how buff I've gotten in those years. It's my upper body routine that I do 3 days a week, about 40 minutes a day. And I've been doing this for a couple years, and I also did it in '98, and I won in '98, so now I've won again in 2002, so I guess I better keep it up.
Just below Lone Tree Spring, the trail narrows from a fire road down to a single track. What do you do here, Russ?
I go for the single track 90% of the time, depending if there are anyone's ahead of me or not. If there are 2 or 3 ahead of me, I'll go up the fire road. There's a long downhill on that. It's probably a little longer, but faster in crowded conditions.
Runners coming down Lone Tree Fire Road will have a choice right here below our camera position of continuing on the Fire Road, which is good for the people who have great leg speed, or cutting on the Dipsea Trail, which is good for people who like to dance around little rocks.
I usually stay on the fire trail. Gives me more room to pass if there's anyone out there getting ready to go into the narrow part of Steep Ravine.
We're looking up at Swoop Hollow, which is one of the places that the runners can really fly down, and Russ and I are standing at an intersection where runners in the 1970s would go straight down an area called the Trench. Now we cut around it. How much did that trench shortcut save?
Probably 20, 30 seconds in that range, but there was a good chance of getting poison oak. It was very difficult to go through it. You can see how wooded it is now, and the brush has taken over, how it goes back to nature very quickly.
This steep corner is the beginning of steep ravine. A few daredevils might shoot down the side and cut this corner. What do you do, Russ?
I do shoot the corner, and it's a time saver. But also, as I get down right in 10 yards from here, it's a place where I took my worst fall in the Dipsea, and it's a very easy place. And I think it's something you have to be aware of, that you lose your concentration in the easy places and it's easy to fall. And the real difficult places, you need to keep your concentration to avoid falling.
Russ, we've talked many times about running down steep ravine. It's my least favorite part of the course, and I consider it the most difficult section. You sort of revel in it. Share with us a little bit of how you get down so quickly.
Well, it is my favorite part, and I can get down as fast as anybody through there, scratch runners included. But I do try to stay to the left now. If you've ever noticed, as you go down there, there's a bit of a dirt trail down on the left side of the stairs. Though in places where I can't do that, I'm probably taking them 2 or 3 at a time. And again, still going sideways and trying to get my whole foot on the dirt rather than the wooden part in case it's wet and slippery. You can see here how I'm running on the side of the stairs. Darrell Beardall, who won the race in 1974 and 78, does the same. Here's a rookie mistake by David Garrity. Yes, the Dipsea can be dangerous.
The bottom of Steep Ravine, below the bottom of Insult, is one of the prettiest spots on the Dipsea course. Also one of the toughest. It's a checkpoint. What kind of time is good here, Russ?
If you got here at 45, you'd be cooking. You'd be on your way to easily a black shirt, probably the top 10.
Insult Hill, the last steep uphill on the Dipsea Trail, named by Don Pickett, is a lot steeper at the bottom, and it levels off a little bit near the top. I like to go easy at the bottom and hard at the top. What about you?
Well, I've run the downhill, really pushing it, coming down steep ravine. I do try to run the whole hill.
TJ and Florencia are leading a group near the top of Insult, and a smaller group is going to shoot off towards the moors.
Many of these runners are going a little faster than they would be race day. They'd probably be just breaking into a run again after walking up the steepest part of Insult. Going up the panoramic highways the way most people will go for the black shirts. Heading over the moors will probably be the way we'll have to go in the future. I'm sure the rangers will want us to stop using the roads and the shortcuts.
This is the top of the first shortcut on Panoramic Highway after Insult. This is one of 2 major shortcuts here. What's your theory, Russ?
Usually I'll go in this one. It depends, though. If there's somebody right ahead of me, I will probably wait and go down about 50 yards down the road. It'll be just because there's nobody in front of you. I don't think it's any faster, but it is if you have some traffic.
This is the bottom of the first shortcut. That tree is getting lower every year. I smashed it a year ago. Mike Hoy thought that it was fairly hilarious. It's always wet down here and it's pretty dangerous. Then there's a 200-yard sprint. What are you thinking about here, Russ?
Again, I'm hoping to get through here safely without conking my head. I usually grab the branch and slide down under it and get through the wet spot and push on down the road trying to get into the next shortcut.
After a 200-yard sprint down the road, the runners will have to jump down the start of the second shortcut, which is an extremely dangerous spot on the course and a difficult one to find.
Well, I know the course so well. I do know this one. Sometimes there are some other marks. There's a white mark on the ground here, but there are other marks about 30 yards up, which will take you down into the bushes to be just thrashing around in no man's land. So you want to make sure you come in the right one, know the trail here, be able to keep your balance, because there are some sharp turns as we go in and out of this short area here, down to Kiernan's Crossing.
This is Kiernan Crossing. How did this section of the trail get its name, Russ?
Well, I hate to look back on this, but as you bring it up, in 1978, this is the area where Don Chaffee came across. I went up higher in the trees where the runners are coming down before they come down the steep section. I thought I was going the best way, the old Dipsea, but it turned out to be the worst way. and ended up 3 seconds behind Chafee. It's now mentioned in 1994 Farmer's Almanac under great losses. I think things are a little out of perspective when you put my loss in the Dipsea along with things like World Series and Titanic sinkings and other such great losses in history.
I don't think that's misplaced, Russ. At this point, the two trails come back together again. The runners from the moors coming down from above, and the runners from what we would call the second shortcut are coming in here from our right. Traditionally, this is the one place where you can know exactly what place you're in. If someone tells you after this point what place you're in, that should be accurate. Usually that will happen at the stile. This is the stile, one of the most dangerous spots on the Dipsea course. You have your choice of putting your foot on it, jumping over it, stopping and getting over it any way you can. What do you do, Russ?
My theory is to step on it and keep your concentration so you don't fall. As you can see, it's pretty steep coming down that. But everyone, as you say, does have their own theory on going over it. I think most of them step on it and then go down.
Normally we'd be coming down this driveway, but today our runners are approaching from a little bit different angle. This is a point in the race, Russ, where there's a lot of people yelling and screaming, and one year I finished, I didn't hear a thing. I didn't even hear the announcer. I was running so hard. Do you notice that, Russ?
Well, yeah, I do. The adrenaline's going so high, and you know exactly where you are, and hopefully I'm in the top 10 at this point, trying to hold off any runners who are coming and pass anyone who may be ahead of me. But you hear your name and you hear the yelling and screaming, but you're so focused, you don't hear much, and you don't identify any individuals, that's for sure.
We're watching Christy Patterson recreating her 1987 Dipsea victory, sprinting towards the finish line. What do you feel like, Russ, when you're coming down towards the finish?
Well, it's one place where I'm pushing as hard as I can, because this is an area where the scratch runners are going to be coming by, trying to pass you, and there's usually one or two that may catch me before this spot. So it's a time to push on through. You hear the crowd yelling. It's hard to tell who they are, but looking forward to being at the finish. And I see was Christy coming down in '87. I know that was one year when we ran up to the start. I told her this is a day I think either one of us can win this race. And it was a wrong one.
Somewhere along the way, I should also mention Barry's book. Dipsea, The Greatest Race, was written by our race announcer and historian, Barry Spitz. It's loaded with history and great stories. Aside from this video, there's probably no better gift you can get for a first-time Dipsea runner.
10 years ago, Russ, you told me that when your handicap got big enough, you should win it just about every year. Now, you're winning it 2 times out of 5 years. Do you plan on keeping on winning it every year?
Well, this coming year, which will be 2003, I'm really not looking for a win, but 2004, I'm very confident. And so maybe 2006, maybe it'll be the even years. I'm looking forward to running it forever and ever, and hopefully I have a couple more wins I never thought years ago that I would, but I'll be back every year.
And I will be back next year.
I will be back!
And I will be back.
I'll be back next year.
Russ Kiernan.
It is an incredible race. I always say to have this many people out here, it is Mike, an all-time commitment. Start tomorrow for next year. People say, well, how long do you train? I say, well, tomorrow's the 12th of June. That's when I start for next year.
Well, I just want to ensure that everybody who watches this video runs as fast as they can the whole way.
That's right. Well, that's still my theory. Of all these secrets I've told you, you still have to go all the way, flat out from start to finish.
Oh,